Alright, this is going to be the settings. So I changed my mind mainly because I did not save the Middle East map again. And yeah, so that's great. We're just going to do a bunch of the maps that we haven't done before for a one-time special. And we're going to start something different next month. So for this month, we are going to start with... we should start with Plymouth, but we'll start with New York. Because I don't want to search up where Plymouth is. I know it's somewhere around here, but I don't want to try to get accurate there right now. Alright. So New York, we'll get the rat tail and start expanding into New Jersey area like this. Now I will, again, make use of this. Bang! Alright, and since there's only one thing, we just obviously can... Alright, I was going to do Trenton and say it was close enough, but we'll do Newark. I'm not going to click that to disable it because it's going to draw on it. But I will turn that off for now. The New York City's right there. Now, New York City, you know what? Guess what? They will absolutely destroy Newark. And start expanding outwards here. We're going to get Trenton area, so next time we are prepared. But yeah, we're gonna make this like, right here. Battle for Newark. Right. Actually, no, hold on. I'm gonna repurpose this to be New York conquers. That's definitely spelled wrong. I don't care. Newark. Right there. Okay. Cool. Now we're obviously going to keep going with New York, but you know, we'll get a new nation soon, right? Hopefully. Large expand. Okay, we're going to stay with New York for 100 straight turns. I guarantee. Oh, new leader. Yeah, I love that fucking card. Small expansion. And yeah, they're just going to get up to Massachusetts. Yeah, they're going to get it as well. I swear, if we don't get a split, I shouldn't have killed off Newark. Oh, no. Oh my god, a new leader again. Just... Jesus. Alright, they're gonna go down to get this weird little part of Virginia. Modern day Virginia. This is the restart of the US. New nation, yes! And we are going directly over here. Oh, I didn't name this. Okay, but you can see what it is. You know what I mean, with where I place that. I shouldn't give this a name, though. Chicago, baby! And save, thank you. Now, Chicago is about right here. Chicago. Bang. They even have like Milwaukee almost, but you know. I won't add any minor major cities for this one because I'm too lazy for right now. Maybe I'll do it later. Chicago will keep expanding. They will go up and get like Milwaukee for sure now, but New York now, they're gonna have a medium expansion. I kind of want them to split again. Chicago's gonna found a religion. We're gonna give Chicago Catholicism. That's not how you spell that. All right, so now we got the Catholics. So that's nice. Chicago, my lord. New York, but they will mediumly expand. Okay. They're gonna go into, I would call this the start of the Appalachian Mountains. Then we're gonna go over to Chicago, that will mediumly expand, get more of Wisconsin, get more west of Chicago. I guess New York becomes Catholic as well. That's nice. Okay, Catholicism spreads a lot. New nation, we're gonna get like, where's Miami exactly? Which is down here. They're even gonna get the Keys. Oh look, you can see the Bahamas, but you can't draw on it. You know, because this is the Appalachian map. And Miami's gonna get a lot of southern Florida there. Alright, and actually because that's not like interrupted by anything, you know what I mean? Like these can come back because I'm not gonna accidentally get rid of them. Chicago will largely expand. They will follow this river and you know, buff out the border there. So they're looking pretty decent. New York, never mind. Chicago, small expansion. They're gonna get the rest of this river. Don't ask me what it's called, but you know, small expansion. They're gonna also start following rivers and go alongside the mountain range. New York, my lord, stop it. Even if I turn it off, it's still gonna pop up. Small expansion. They're just gonna follow this river. They're gonna follow this river. Do it again. They're gonna follow the river. They're gonna trace the Mississippi. Because I'm sure that's why this is cut off like this is. It's probably the Mississippi River, seeing as it goes all the way down there. Yes, it is. You know. Miami, never mind. I know we only have US representation, but that's going to stay that way. New Orleans, and they're just about in this area, so they get pretty much all of it. And there we go, we got New Orleans. So we got 4 nations here, and they're in the 4 corners. Chicago will expand. Chicago will expand, okay. They love expanding Chicago, you know. They're spreading Chicagoan faith all over the place. Miami now will expand up the coastline of Florida, getting this river. New York will make an expansion to follow alongside the mountain range. They will not go in the mountains because they don't want to do that right now. Miami will just union with themselves. Miami will also found a religion. They can be Protestant down here in Miami, Protestant. Because, you know, that's the only thing I could think of right now. That's definitely the color of the water, but who cares? You can change the color of religions, right? I think that's this button. So hold on. Faith map mode. Oh no, you can do it right here. Okay. So if I wanted it to be like orange. If I wanted... Oh, I have to press done, don't I? Wait, no. Why isn't that changing? What's the point of that if it doesn't change? Whatever, they can stay like that. New Orleans will follow the Mississippi up. No. Okay, whatever. Anyway, moving on. New Orleans again will adopt a religion. Since Protestantism is closest to them, they will become Protestant. New York will expand. They're gonna follow this river up and connect up to their land. How did they get black? Why did they become black? The fuck? Okay. Game's definitely broken. Miami will make an expansion up here. And they have a nice little southern Florida empire. New York will have a small expansion. They're going to continue expanding in this area, trying not to go in the mountains. And they're going to keep doing that right now. They're going to get that flat land. They're going to go down to the river there. They do have like a nice border on that mountain, you know what I mean? New nation, sick. Okay, you know, we can have Canadian representation here. As Toronto is in the game. Toronto is in this general vicinity, but let me check. See how badly I messed up. Oh yeah, no. It's up here. My bad. My bad. Well, they're already in the US, they can have that. So Toronto is actually up here. I'll mark it for you so that you can see it too. Toronto is right here. Toronto. Lebronto is right there. Sorry, I know. We could mark Niagara Falls, but there's like nothing for that. I guess we could make like a port, but like... actually, you know what? I have the perfect thing. Niagara Falls. Bang, look at that. New Orleans will start expanding a little bit more. Are they not flatlanded? Yeah. What a great place to live when you're a mountaineer. New York will largely expand. I kind of wish that it would take into account, like, what pixel does it encompass the most? And when a new leader card appears, it will change the leader to have a trait of what the most pixels it has is. So like if it has a bunch of white pixels, then it's a flatlander that it will appear. If it's the gray ones, it will be a hill dweller. If it's black ones, it will be a mountaineer, you know what I mean? That's probably too hard to code though. Toronto, never mind. We get Charleston! Oh shit. Well, they're gonna have that pixel until I can find a way to get rid of that. That was a complete accident. I didn't mean to do that. That's definitely not how you spell that. Yeah. Oh, well, okay. And Toronto got a new leader. New Orleans will union with themselves, because it makes no sense. Chicago, new nation. Oh, yes, I can get rid of this. Hold on, what's there? Is that Atlanta? That's basically Atlanta. Atlanta. Look at that. ATL is here. Close enough, but we're going to allow it. New York is going to union with nobody. Technically, none of these countries even know they exist. You know what I mean? These are all new nations. and they're all like so far out. This is just like native tribes basically, and they're living in harmony until they find out each other exist. Charleston will mediumly expand. They will try their best to stay on their side of this river, and they might accidentally cross. I could change the brush size to make sure they don't, but I won't. Atlanta now will mediumly expand, and again stop alongside this river. Gonna get 1 pixel accidentally there, a few of them, but we're going to pretend like they didn't. So look at that, they're having a nice little border there. Chicago, never mind. I didn't want Chicago at all. Okay, Atlanta will largely expand, and they're gonna follow this river again. Look at that, that was actually pretty nice, ain't it? I didn't even know the Appalachia got down that far. Granted, Atlanta ends like... Or sorry, Georgia ends like here. And this is Tennessee, so that makes sense. New York, they're gonna largely expand. They're gonna go down this North Carolinian coast, get to the river, basically stop, not leave that gap. That would piss me off, or these. I keep almost doing that. But yeah, they got like a nice little empire here on the East Coast. And they're gonna continue expanding it. They're gonna follow the mountain and hills here. And pretty much, I'm actually gonna de-size just to give them that. So now they pretty much got all the flat land there. So they're gonna go back up. Because they're like, there's a river there, we don't want to cross it right now, so we'll just expand here. Chicago, I'm gonna throw someone off a building in Minecraft. Chicago finally will expand, get like a nice top of Illinois for a moment before they expand into Milwaukee, sorry, Wisconsin. And Toronto is finally up. They're gonna get the rest of this part. They're gonna get South Detroit and go up in this little peninsula. Chicago will largely expand. They're gonna wrap around finally into Michigan, and they're claiming pretty much all of Lake Michigan for themselves, which, fair, you know. Next up will be New York, who will expand right here into Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and then Maine, which used to be part of Massachusetts. Oh, you could see why Maine had that border now, huh? Didn't know that river was there. Alright. They're just going to expand alongside the hills again, getting some of it in their territory, but you know. New Orleans will expand. They're not going to have a fun time until they get a new leader, but that's being wasted on Chicago every single fucking time. So they're going to follow the Mississippi River there. And back with Chicago, they're going to keep outlining Lake Michigan. They're even going to take a boat to start going back around, even though it'd probably be easier to do it this way, who knows. Atlanta will largely expand. They will stop at the hills and, you know, go right back down, go eastern, and start going down that river. Charleston will start going up here. Are they also... Okay, no, they're Flatlanders. That just felt way too quick. New Orleans is going to found a religion, so they're leaving Protestantism for Orthodoxy. Yes, okay. We're just going to say that that's the religion in New Orleans. Next, now that we got all the major Christianity out of the way, I know there's like Methodism and all of that, but next will be Islam. So let's see if we even get that. Miami, they're going to expand up and finally get this area and go right back down here to start expanding, get past Tampa area. I think Tampa's right here anyway. And they're going to go up here, get like around Disneyland and all that. Yeah, but the way I'm doing the religion in this video, I just wanted to get Christianity out of the way. They have like 1,000 denominations. Then we're going to go for Islam. We're going to have Sunni and Shia Islam. And then we're going to go for Judaism. And if we get past that, we're going to have Buddhism. So, you know. Oh. Well, actually, because we only have one Orthodox, we're going to keep Orthodoxy. I want to keep Orthodoxy here. You know what I mean? Come on, the next country that doesn't have one already. Large expansion. Because I did want to keep Orthodoxy in here. It's fun to have 3 separate Christianities, right? Oh, look at that, finally a split, and it's in the literal only one that I didn't want it to be on. Colombia is up here. We'll just let them have Colombia. And Colombia will expand north to get their capital, but until then they have no capital. Chicago, new nation. I could put Colombia here and then take this over. Nah. What can I do? That just looks like it's spelled wrong. It also looks like it's spelled French. That's probably why it looks wrong. Oh, they took South Detroit. It's fine. They're gonna get up this coast and start making a nice little empire there. Detroit. And matter of fact, I might make them go to war with Toronto over South Detroit. Chicago will largely expand. They are gonna finish their wrap around. So they have fully encompassed all of Lake Michigan for their own, which is pretty cool for them, I guess. Miami will smallly expand. They're going to keep going up the coast of Florida here. And yeah, they're basically just Florida, obviously. New Orleans will largely expand, which means nothing when you're not a flatlander in a flatland, you know? But they got like a decent empire. Oh, there we go, new leader. Flatlander, let's go. And New York will mediumly expand. They're going to follow this hill still. The hills and mountains. Does Maine really have this many fucking, like, dotted lakes? Charleston, new leader. Okay, I was gonna get rid of Columbia, but whatever. Detroit, they're gonna adopt a religion, seeing as Catholicism is the closest to them, they will become Catholic. Chicago, new leader, cool, love that. Charleston will adopt a religion, seeing as the closest to them, I'd say is Protestantism, they can become Protestant. Feel like that's probably the answer. Atlanta will mediumly expand. They're just gonna keep expanding down their rivers. Okay, Charleston will take over Columbia. Now, I will mark that. Again, that's definitely not how you spell conquer. Oh, it is. Again, looks French. That's probably why I thought it was wrong. Alright, anyway, back to the game. Miami will mediumly expand. They will just continue expanding up north into Florida again. Charleston will go up here and find somebody on the other side of the river. And it's Atlanta, obviously. And what's going to happen here, you wonder? Well, I'll tell you what happens here. They start invading because they're bloodthirsty. Let's see. Start of the Charlie yeah, we could do that. ATL war. Start of the Charles ATL war. And we'll see how that goes. And see, like, this would be cool to have for like these two things, but those were just quick ass wars. So that this is like a bookmark for longer wars. Like, this is the start, you know, if they have like a major push but it gets stopped, you know, stuff like that. Miami will found a religion, so they leave their Protestantism behind and form Sunni Islam, because I think Sunni is the majority in the world. Okay, yeah, about 90% are Sunni, apparently, according to Google AI, which is usually wrong. So, you know. But Miami is now Sunni Islamic. Next will be Shia Islam. Maybe Atlanta will take that one. Chicago, new leader. Par for the course. Toronto will adopt a religion, seeing as this is the closest. Even though it's weird to have two people with the same faith go at each other, but hey, that's definitely happened before. So Toronto is now Catholic. Charleston will smallly expand, keep pushing into Atlanta territory. Detroit will make a small expansion. They're going to start a war for South Detroit, and they're going to get it. So they're going to back off right there. You know, we're going to start the war for South Detroit. So Toronto will answer to that. New York is going to union with absolutely nobody. Technically, they don't even know anyone else exists because they're over here. You know what I mean? But, you know, Chicago will largely expand. Yeah, you know, this is not the worst one episode special, because we got a nice looking map, and we're not even 100 turns done yet. But yeah, this map is also a little too small, even though, look up here, there's a lot, but like no towns are up here that anyone would know. You could not name me a town in this general vicinity. Yeah, it's just like a Leaf River is like the most American one I could find, so, well, Canadian by this standard, but whatever. Like, come on. Like, the map is basically small for the stuff that people would know, big for the stuff that isn't even here, you know what I mean? So yeah, anything more than 100 turns will just get too overwhelming, if anything. Anyway, continuing on, Charleston will continue whooping Atlanta's ass. They will continue pushing forward, making a push central more so than on the sides. And Charleston will continue, they will continue a forward expansion towards the capital of Atlanta. New Orleans will adopt a religion. So Orthodoxy could still, I want to keep all three Christians. They will stay Orthodox. Charleston will again make another push forward, you know what I mean, and stop just short of the city of Atlanta. And we'll see how that goes. Toronto, new leader, sick. Detroit, large expansion. Since they got what they wanted, they're just going to do this. And we're going to say that because Toronto has new leadership, they called for a ceasefire. So, you know, we're going to say, like, right here, surrender of Toronto troops after new leadership. Surrender of Toronto troops after new leadership, right there, we're going to say. And that's cool. Detroit will continue to expand. They will eventually meet up with Chicago, where they will talk about relations or something, even though that's probably not going to materialize into anything in 3 turns. Miami will largely expand. They will continue following this river, going up this coast, and finding Charleston. And they don't want to get on the bad side of a warmonger, so they're just going to expand elsewhere. You know what I mean? And Chicago will have their origin diverged, which makes no sense when they were already Chicago. So you just take away their age here for origin, because like it shows that Detroit has been here for 29, but somehow this is a different Chicago, even though they are, you know, Chicago the whole damn time. Whatever. Anyway, and on the last turn, Detroit will have a large expansion, and they will just expand all the way down here and all that. Alright, so that's going to be the end of this one video special. I will just tell you right now that Atlanta surrenders and Chicago takes over everybody. How about that? I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. See you guys.